Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. Today, we're going to start a new project. It's quick, it's simple, very utility oriented, and easy to make quite a few of them quickly to give away as gifts or sell in a craft fair, whatever you want to do with it. I'm using scrap leather that I have laying around, so I didn't go out and purchase this specifically for this project. I already had some of the hardware. I'll explain what hardware I'm going to use. And before I bring you in and get started, I want to make sure I give a shout out to Tom Millhouse out of Ohio. He was the winner of the leather magnetic money clip. So he had the correct answer the fastest. He was the first one to get it into my email. And it was the Halloween skull sitting in the background on the workbench was the answer. So congratulations, Tom. I appreciate you watching, and I'll get that money clip off to you quickly so you can enjoy it. So now come on in and let's get started. Alright, so what I'm making here today is it's a key ring protector, or a key protector. It can go in your pocket, or I'm gonna put a little different twist on it and put a clip on the other end of it. So if you want to put it on your belt loop or clip it on to the outside of your pocket, whatever you want to do. I'm going to try it, see how it works. I've got just a key ring, looks like a 1-inch, let me double check, it's a 1-inch key ring. I've got just some excess keys I have here, and I put them on a key ring already, so just to save some time. But I'm using a 1-inch to a 1¼ inch key ring for this project. Now, I did take my snaps, and I'm using some chrome tanned, pre-dyed scrap leather that I have, that I purchased several months ago, so I've got quite a bit of it laying around. And I also get some of this leather from Kentucky Leather and Hides, so go check them out at KentuckyLeatherandHides.com and see what they have. They have all kinds of exotic hides and leathers and pre-dyed, chrome tan, veg tan, all the hardware that you would need to do any of these projects. So go check them out. Good people. So what I do is, if I'm only going through a single thickness of leather, and this is probably about 6 to 8 ounce leather, is I'll take my snaps that I'm going to use, or my hardware, and I'll take my Dremel tool and I'll just sand the stud down a little bit so that I get a custom fit for the thickness of that leather. So that's what I try to do if I can. Now, what I did was I took a piece of this that I had laying in my scrap bin, and I was able to get 5 of these pieces out of this in order to make one of these with my pattern. So I just laid out a pattern. I'll quickly go over it. It is 3½ inches tall, and I put a hole for my rivet, and I'll show you that in a minute what I'm using the rivet for, at the top of each, about 3/16 of an inch down on each end in the middle. So that is 3½ by 6½ inches. And then on this end, I made a fold mark at 2 inches. And at this end, which will be my front, I made a fold mark at 2 inches. So in the center, I've got 2, 4, and so that makes the center one 2½, which makes my overall 6½. So That's my pattern for that piece, for the large piece. Then for the top, where I'm going to put my key ring, and at the bottom where I'm going to put my, or vice versa, top, bottom, key ring, or snap, or clip, doesn't matter. I made this piece of leather, or this pattern for the leather, and punched holes in it for my rivet. I'm using a different color, so I'm going with this really light beige colored. Again, I did get this from Kentucky Leather and Hides, and that's what I'm going to use for my loops to hold on my key ring and hold on my clasp, my spring clasp. So let me go ahead and get started here and take a piece of this scrap that I cut off, and again, I'm going to be able to make 5 of these very quickly. I'm only going to make one in a video, but I've got several pieces here just out of some scrap that I can make 5 of these, and again, I could sell them at craft fairs, give them away as Christmas gifts. It's just a neat, quick, cheap project that you can do, and it's fun. I have a good time doing these projects like this that don't take me days and days to do. You get into some of these bags and holsters and things, especially Western rigs, you can get into days of work. So this is rewarding because I get to see it pretty quickly as a finished product. So I used my pattern, drew out on my first piece here, and I'm going to use my straight edge on this, and I'm going to turn it, get my arm out of the way so you can see what's going on here. And I'm just going to go ahead, and I've got a fresh blade in this knife. So let's go ahead and turn it 180, do the other side. And I am going to quickly bevel this also. And the reason I'm using a straight edge is because these pieces that I cut out for this are not that much bigger than my pattern, so I want to make sure I get a nice straight cut where there's not a lot of leather to cut off there, because as you know, if you've cut much leather like that, the softer it is, the more it wants to stretch and move. So now I'm going to go ahead and go around the corners, and I did round the corners on my pattern just to give it a little more finished look. And you can cut these corners all in one cut if you'd like, or you can make several cuts around the radius, whatever's easiest for you. Basically, you're going to end up with the same results. I've done it both ways. Sometimes, especially on tight radiuses, it's easier to do it this way, where you make several cuts around that radius, around those corners. So I'm going to push those pieces out of the way, and I've got my piece here. Let's go ahead and punch the holes for my hardware. And again, I'm going to have a snap to keep it closed with my keys in or out of there. Doesn't matter. And I'm going to have a couple of rivets. So let's Go ahead and punch those. Let's take my smaller beveler, and I'm just going to run that really quickly, and I'm not going to press very hard at all. I just want to get that sharp edge and any of that ink left over from drawing on that leather from my pattern. And I could have done it to the other side, the inside, but I knew I wanted to bevel it quickly and lightly anyway. And it's really another thing that makes these projects so quick, if you're going to do multiples like this by hand, is this pre-dyed leather that I get. Then you don't have to wait. You don't have to dye it, wait for it to dry, and go through all that. You can come up with a finished product that you can give away or sell pretty quickly. So there's my edge that I beveled. Makes it nice and finished looking. Let's go ahead and take the beige cream colored, and I've got my little pattern for that, and notice I put on there ×2. I gotta have two, one for the top, one for the bottom. And what I'm gonna do here, and I cut multiple strips of that also out of a piece of scrap so that I have plenty. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and take my rounded punch, and I'm just going to stick that pattern on the end. I'm not even going to draw on this leather because I made the pattern with this punch also. So there's my first one, and let's go ahead and make a second one. And again, you can make these pretty quickly. Put my pattern down, move it out of the way so I don't mess it up once I get my rounded corner punch on there. So I've got two of those now. You could see I could get those punched out pretty quickly and do several of those. There's two of them, one for the top, one for the bottom. And then what I need to do is put my pattern back on and just make a dot in my holes that I punched so that I know exactly where to punch it for my rivets on these little strips. So get that out of the way. I can go ahead and punch those. And when I do that, even though I took my ink pen and drew around that on my pattern, you don't see any ink marks because my punch takes those out of there. So let's go ahead and take these. We're ready to apply those. Now, this is going to fold over like so. Once I get it all done, then I can go ahead and take this piece, and if I wanted to, I could moisten it, and then I can flatten that out and let it dry like that so that it's going to stay flatter instead of it wanting to just be rounded. So I'm going to take my key ring, and again I put some keys on there just to have it pre-done. And then let's get some rivets and a rivet setter. And let's try a 5/16 and see how that's gonna work here. And again, I'm gonna put one side of that cream colored leather on the outside, one side of it on the inside, and let's see if that rivet is going to be long enough. It's perfect. So let me get a cap here. And I'll have to get my setter. And I like to use this anvil that I use for snaps. Seems to work pretty well. Get my mallet. Give it 3 swift hits. And there's my key ring on that end. Now what I want to do is take my second one and I'm going to put it through the clasp, the spring clasp, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the same exact size rivet. Let me get a cap for that one, and I'm going to do the same thing. So let's go through this piece, go through the main piece. Let's fold that over, and I've got to get that on my anvil here. Yeah, let's fold that over. Let's put our cap on. And once I have my cap on, then I can go ahead and grab my setter. Make sure I'm on that anvil. Give it 3 swift hits, and there's the side with the spring clasp. So I can now fold my keys over, is the key there, no pun intended. Put them inside there, then I can go ahead and put my other hardware on, snap this together, and then hang this on my belt loop or off of my pocket, or I can just slide. I can put this inside there also and just slide the whole entire thing in my pocket. So it protects your keys from getting tangled up with other stuff in your pockets, or you can just hang it off of your belt loop. So the next thing I need to do is go ahead and put the snap on. So let's go ahead and let's put the male snap on this side. And again, it may be a little snug getting it on there because, like I said, I did take my Dremel tool and knock some of that down, so it's not such a long stud on there. And sometimes it helps if you take a punch bigger than that and push down over the top of that. There it goes. And then what that does is that snugs that down over top real nice. Just tap it down, and then that's going to be this male snap end, and I'll put that over the top. I want to make sure that's down as far as it'll go on there, real nice and tight. And obviously you want to be real careful that you don't take too much off of that when you're doing the Dremel tool, or then you're back to another problem. So I'll take my setter and make sure that I got plenty to hold that in there. It's nice and tight. Let's go to the other side, and we're going to push it from the outside in, flip my anvil over to the dish side, and I want to again make sure that I push that down all the way. It's nice and tight. So let's go ahead and flip our keys over in there, and let's fold this and snap it. So there's our keys in there, nice and snug. They're not going to come out. And then I can use the snap ring to hook it on my belt loop, or just stick it in my pocket. I could also fold this over inside of here and just stick the whole thing in my pocket, but it makes it nice. Key fob would work the same way. If you want to protect your key fob from getting banged around inside your pocket, you could protect it by folding it up inside of here. Now let's open that up, and then your keys just fall out and you're ready to use your keys. So go inside your pocket, inside your purse. You could clip this on your purse so you don't lose your keys. That's what my wife does with hers that I made her. She just clips this right on the chain part of her purse from the handle, and in that way she doesn't lose her keys. So again, put your keys inside, fold it over, snap it, and there's the finished product. Try to get a good shot there. Alright, again, nice, easy, quick, inexpensive project to do. Again, makes nice gifts, nice to sell at craft fairs if you do that sort of thing. I'd like to again congratulate Tom Millhouse for winning the leather magnetic money clip. Congratulations, Tom. Thanks for watching again, and I'd like for you to come back next time and check out a new project that we're going to do. So as I always say, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.